Hey, so this is your host, Steve from the back, coming at you guys again. And, so I wanted to talk about something in this rant that's not like, whatever. I guess I'm on time. That was an alarm. So, I wanted to talk to you guys about something. So as you guys know on this channel that I'm a Satanist. I don't go to the Satanic Temple or anything, at least yet. Maybe I don't know, maybe some point in time. If I'm given the right circumstances, I'll look into more organized groups of people who at least have the same satanic base, like a LaVeyan Satanist type of base that I have to commune with or gather with and stuff. But some people would say, just some people may ask the question, oh, how did you, or why, how or why did you become a Satanist or something, right? And someone would even maybe say, why are you starting a rant off like this? This is the weirdest way to start off a rant. What are you talking about, And I get that reaction from a lot of people. Out in public, if I tell them what my religion is, because I consider it a religion. Some people don't say, oh, it's not a religion. And some Satanists themselves may even say, oh, we don't believe, we're not saying we actually believe that there's a Satan, or we're not saying we believe in this, and, everyone has their own, perception of things, and my thing is this, now I'm not saying that I believe in the classic belief of a god and a devil type of the way the Christian Bible lays it out. I'm not saying even that, but that's not really what this rant's about anyway. I always just say that so that if someone's uncomfortable, fuck! I shit you not, guys. A fruit fly literally went right up my fucking nostril. I guess he's trying to fly on the screen, but he jumped off. Fuck! He went right inside my fucking nostril. It's disgusting. God damn. Oh, like I was saying, tired of these fucking bugs, man. My room's not even that messy. I just cleaned it yesterday. But these fruit flies are so fucking resilient and grow so fast. You leave one can of anything out, and there they are. But like I was saying, this is just kind of like a trigger warning, if you will, for people who are uncomfortable with a Satanist or satanic things, or so right now I'm giving you your chance to leave if you're too afraid or too uncomfortable to keep listening to this rant. So this rant really speaks about how and many people have said this, parts of you that were lost has to do with who you are when you were a child. And I wouldn't take that so word for word, because some of you people out here were idiots when you were a child, and you had few redeeming qualities. Actually, some of you, it was better that you were suppressed or whatever when you were a child, because you were a maniac or whatever, and not me. by any means, but some of you people out there were just retards, just being real. So, you know, you guys there probably weren't things that were like really pure about you when you were a child. I know that sounds retarded. Sounds like, oh, what are you saying? You're saying as a child that... No, I'm not saying that, because I mean, there is an innocence about, like, generally a child that almost every child has. Now, I'm not talking about you out there, you people out there, who were disgusting individuals that were, like, trying to torture animals, and you're psychopaths, or you're trying to molest animals and people and your siblings, and you're some perverted sexual weirdo who try to impose your will upon things that are can't defend themselves or something. You're some, you know, then if you're a person like that, I'd say, you know, you don't have half any redeeming qualities, and you probably, I'm just gonna be real, someone would say, you can't say that. Well, you'll be deleted, bro. You probably need to be deleted, and I'd probably be the person happily to do it. So that's a whole other story. But I'm talking about more normal people who are like maybe deserve a chance, not weirdos who probably never should have been born. So with all that being said, and like I said again, if you don't like the way I'm speaking, then get the fuck off my channel now, because this is my fucking channel, and we're not about no bullshit on this channel either. So, like I was saying, you know, sometimes as a child has a purity that is something that should be carried on throughout the entirety of life. And I don't mean like a virgin purity, like something like, oh, you know, you never drank, you never whooped somebody's ass, you never did anything selfish, you never toppled something or someone because you wanted something or wanted to be there more or whatever. I'm not saying like that, like you're supposed to be this little angel. So I know what I'm saying is there is a trueness to oneself, and there is a innocence and a purity that is, in my opinion, holy in a way. Not like exactly the Christian. I mean, in a way, I'll say it like this. This is true. In a way, the way that Christians see it actually truly is holy. Now, it is. But the thing is, they just may have a different way that they actually believe where certain things all come from. You know, like, and not all. And actually, I'm not even really gonna argue with certain Christians, because I really look at it like this. Certain things that Christians believe, I think, like, I'm not even gonna say misguided. I would say they're misguided, in my opinion. I'm not even can say like, oh, I just know because I believe, but I'm not saying like, at this point, there's really no point for me to like argue, because certain conclusions they're drawing, a lot of this is the thing, a lot of us that are Satanists, we're drawing the same conclusions, it's just we may think there's different facts behind conclusions we're drawing, but it ultimately ends up being the same result, really. And that's a weird thing, but I know I'm rambling. Some people maybe, it's not because you can't keep up, it's just that I'm fucking rambling all over the place. But what I'm trying to say is, sometimes something is wholly true, it's just that how both of us are perceiving it, or where we want to attribute things, and where we are trying to make connections between facts that pan out into realities and actions, we have very different, like, opinions about all of that. But the funny thing is, some people would believe, like, okay, so there's a hell for us and a heaven for this, and there's a... it's not really that cut and dry, actually. It's not. In matter of fact, a lot of us pretty much just will end up in the same place, actually. Just saying. And a lot of it has to do with what potential did you maximize, or what were you able to manifest or learn, while you were alive in this life. That's what a lot of it really has to do. So at the end of the day, a lot of times, like the Satanist like myself, actually is pretty much the same thing as the Christian that goes to church. And someone will say, well, how is that even possible? What do you mean? That's not possible. No, it actually is. It's not that it's just possible. It's that. It's like I said before, you can believe something sometimes, but really it's just you're misguided. So you don't understand that actually your choices that you're making is what's making you different. If you were to make certain choices, we would both be the same thing. And in essence, we actually are the same thing, but we're just choosing to... it's like we're choosing to live something out from two different perspectives. But there's no escaping the fact that it's the choice that makes you the different thing. So that's the simplest way that's the simplest way I can describe this. But like I was saying about being a child and how through your adulthood, integral, and I'm looking for the words, because normally I just want to like hiss and growl and grunt and not speak at all, like little monster that I am, and I don't want to say anything, but I'm going to use words now so you can understand what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is, trying to, it's hard, because these are things that, like, if I try to explain them, they're not going to come so fast out of my mouth. I can think them, but they're not going to just... It's hard to articulate, because this is complicated stuff to really understand, because there's a lot of, like, what's the word, things that people could think is a contradiction wrapped up in all this, so that's why it's so hard to actually, like, speak. The thing is this: as you grow to be an adult,
get ready.
A lot of things are programmed into us, and some of it is necessary, like very, very necessary. Like certain hygiene things, general things, like for instance, you don't want to go out dressed up like a banana, barefoot, because someone just might think you're crazy, you know what I mean? shit like that, like, you know how to, like, be clean. You may want to, like, now if you're in the wild, like, let's say if you're surviving in the wild or something, showering may not be an option for a while. Like, it's gross, and don't get me wrong, that's not like my thing at all, but see, you understand the difference, right? The context of the situation, like, and you understand the real importance of certain things. Like, is it more important that you shower, or is it more important that you stay alive and warm? Or is it, you get what I'm saying? But that's just, see, it's all about, like, the context. And then you can do what you want. Like, you can go outside and smell like an asshole, literally smell like a creature's asshole, but then no one's going to want to be around you, and people are probably going to prejudge you and attribute things to you that don't belong to you. So it'd be you have to be making a choice to really, then there's the hygiene also. But you get what I'm saying, right? It's like it's common sense, but the thing is, and I talked about this before about us being programmed. So the thing about when you're a child, there's a certain very pure aspect of someone that gets lost, and gets diluted. And a lot of it has to do, like I said, with the mental programming. A lot of it has to do with the fact that you're taught so many facts and so many behaviors even though at your core you're pretty much an animal at your core, like I said, you know, you're growling, hissing, and grunting, and you know, you want things, you know, in your whole behavior is actually a lot different than you think, because there's different parts of your brain, you know what I mean? There's very animal parts of a person that people don't know is like underlying. But the thing is that you know, you have so much learned behavior that sometimes integral and crucial, that's where I was looking for, crucial parts of yourself that belong to you, that are untouched, that are sacred, like I said, they're very pure, those parts of you kind of lie dormant. Those parts of you get dogpiled, and it's like they're under a pile of of rubble, like something that fell, and so much is piled on top of it that it's being smothered, that it can't really get out. And the thing is, part of that, a lot of those parts of you are things that would, like, it sounds cheesy to say and it sounds cliche, but those are the parts of a person a lot of times that would heal the world, you know. Or sometimes those are the parts of a person that would bring a person up to be the wealthy person or the successful person or the happier person that they would probably be. And the whole thing about that is, like, you know how Christians talk about like a still small voice, or the voice of the Holy Spirit and all that, and you know, the small voice that's like you can either choose to listen to it, or you can let a bunch of other voices hear it, or louder, you could listen to louder voices or whatever. You know, there's all these metaphors Christians would use to talk about like that perspective of how they see things, but it's not always about that. And because this is a satanic channel, and because I'm a Satanist, I look at it like, I'm going to talk about it from like a left-hand path perspective, and more of a satanic perspective. Like, often that voice, you know, people would attribute that to something like Christian, but often it's totally not. You know, like, often, see, the thing about this is that, like, Christians talk about, like, you know, spirits and stuff, and deem things as evil. They talk about, like, they shit on demonic kings. Like, for instance, they shit on Belial. You know, in the Bible, they use Belial as like this, you know, acronym for evil, useless things, wicked people, wicked things, and all this crap. You know, and just shitting on a name that you're not supposed to be shitting on. You know, like you just saying, like, you can't be shitting on something that is actually trying to help you, or something that was really part of this world, rules so much of this world, and so much of, you know, your mind, your psyche, people's psyches, has many powers, okay? Has a bunch of knowledge, is incredibly ancient, old, and very wise, you know? This is something that, like, see, this is what I mean about, like, powers that Christians say are, like, what's the word? Like, an accursed thing, you know? It's like, touch not the accursed thing, you know? Don't touch, like, but the thing is this, it's not accursed. You know, that's the lie. The lie is that it's accursed. The lie is that, like, it's just like the same thing about, like I said, you know, you being programmed, there's certain things like, oh, if you do this, if you believe this, or if you do this or that, you know, it's the end of you, or it's your downfall. It's just like the sin thing, you know, this is your downfall. No, not exactly. Like, no, actually not exactly. And this is another thing people don't want you to know, actually, some people, but some people just won't tell you, and some people just don't know, is that,
Strong point.
Demons in themselves, like for instance, demons in themselves know where your limits are and know what is overkill. Demons know
Get ready.
more than people could ever know what like too much to drink is. Do you get what I'm saying? They know what speeding in traffic is. You know? And I'm not saying they actually always know either, because there is some type of divide where maybe there's things that they don't actually get the concept of certain things because it's not part. Because this thing is how do I say this? It's complex. So I will say, but I'm trying to make like a point. Like what I'm trying to say is people have this notion that a demon is a deceptive thing that always tries to steer you in a bad direction and will never give you good advice, and no, it's actually way more the opposite. It's more like if there was a elder person, not always, but usually a person that is above you, smarter than you, knows the wrong, like they know where you let's say you made a right when you should have made a left, and they're like, nah, you should have made that right. Or think of it like that, someone that can see something from a much bigger, better perspective than you, and they have like 1,000 plans and actions that they can try to tell you to implement to get you a good result, and sometimes even tell you no, a blatant no, because there's things that you think you want, but they actually know that you don't. Kind of like a parent, you know, like an elder or something. So, well, my point I'm trying to make is people are foolish. You know, people are very foolish. So people deem certain things evil and wrong, and they think, because they're operating from a Christian perspective of thinking that something is evil and deceptive, and they also have this stupid Hollywoodized, what's the word I'm looking for? They have a Hollywood perception of what a certain type of being is. So they think the nature of this being is chaos for the sake of chaos. They think that it's destruction for the sake of destruction. They think that it's like bloodshed just to shed blood, like some crazed, you know, some crazed beast that is rabies ridden, and it's just psychotic and just chaotic and crazy, and has this like lust for blood and destruction, and inherently its nature is to kill, steal, destroy, you know what I mean? So the funny thing about Christianity is there's a lot of, and I'm just gonna say this, I'm not trying to be racist either. I'm not trying to be racist, but this is the truth. There's a lot of some very sinister, manipulative, what's the word? Egotistical, like, it comes from every race, but at a certain point, it was from a lot of white people too. I'm not just saying that just because I'm black. And I'm not trying to shit on white people either, because I know we're all brothers and sisters. I'm not trying to, don't take it like that. But what I'm trying to say is, like, don't take offense to it. I'm not trying to say, what I'm trying to say is, it was some very egotistical, weird white people, some, I'm not gonna say, but, you know, Jews, pretty much, you know, almost from every race, you know, had their part in, like, they're being very manipulative and controlling over people. Blacks do, especially us do a lot, like, because I was gonna speak on this from my childhood too, about, like, people just misusing every bit of knowledge they have, like, and some people for good in a way, because it gave people a moral compass that they needed, so they would do better things. You know, like in church, you meet people who used to be drug dealers, people who used to be gang members, people who did violent crimes, people who were horrible people, like terrible people. But Christianity taught them enough to that it made them a better person because they chose a better path and they started doing things in a better way. And in essence, it made them a better person. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying that no good can come out of that, because that's a lie. And that's the thing people don't even understand. Like, they think there's this inherent lying nature about us. You know, like we're these sinister liars, these deceptive, evil creatures that are just going around trying to trying to do evil things to people and always trying to deceive people for some twisted psychotic, what's the word also, sadistic, like some sadistic hang up. That's not, no. What it really is this. It's like I said, two perspectives. One person chooses to go by one perspective and ultimately lead to not the same place, but like there's different sides of things. Like, so it's like you have one variation of the same thing, because really at the end of the day, all things are one thing. All things are kind of chaos. And then there's a more refined, controlled version of something, and even that has like multiple sides to it. You know, that's how all of existence is. You know, how there's like different sides to things. You know, but the thing is this. Like I said, you could misuse something that was, parts of it were good, but you misused it. And like I said, you may even not even think you're misusing it because you don't know any better. So you don't know that you're just controlling people, or that you're taking people's money, or that you know, you don't understand that. Like certain pastors and people who preach, like you don't understand that you're actually, or that you're what's the word? You're stifling someone's spiritual and physical growth and their life because you are trying to keep them in a box and telling them that the only path to, quote, what they want, or even sometimes the peace they want, the lifestyle, the inner peace, or the, you know, things they want, you're trying to tell them that that's the only path that they can find is through, you know, but this is the thing, that's not actually true. Now, for most people, for some, maybe that is true, but for a lot of people, it's actually not. It's much more, you have a, like, broader choice. Like, you have a much more bigger, broader spectrum than that. Like, so, that's a lot. So, I'll also say, like, now I remember being a kid, and I remember things like, I remember smelling kerosene, you know. I remember always smelling the green hair grease in the house, the DATs, and the other greased hair stuff that my mom used to use, and you know, I remember always smelling cologne because my grandfather, he was, you know, I think, was he an elder? I don't know if was he an elder in the church? I think he was an elder, so I'm like trying to think what he was, but, you know, they were Pentecostal Christians, and we're black, we're in a black household, we're in a black neighborhood, you know, black church, and, you know, I'm just like thinking back, like, all the stuff that was going on in the house, like, how my perception was as a child, you know, not knowing so much as a child, just like, you know, you wake up, you remember how things feel, look, smell, you're like, you know, you remember sounds, you remember, you know, your mom always had gospel music on, she's always singing, they always had, like, all this Christian stuff going on, you know, and, like, when I think of it now, like, they weren't bad people, like, they're really good people, and they had a lot of good attributes, and they were nice, and they were fun, and, you know, but like I said before, in my opinion, extremely misguided. Like, extremely misguided. and everything happens for a reason. Now, the selfish part of myself wishes that they weren't so misguided, and there were parts in these people's lives where I know that they wanted to dabble in things, and I know that they had curiosities about things, that were not Christian. In my opinion, do I wish that they would have wholeheartedly thrown themselves into it? I really wish they would have. And I think if they had of, I'll just be honest, I think if they had of went into that type of route, they would have blown a hole open. I'm not saying blown like the gates of hell, which I would love if that was a thing, but they would have torn a hole. I think if they had realized the potential some of these people would have had, they would have ripped a hole in this reality, and they would have made such a powerful, tangible mark on everything.
Get ready.
Everything. If they had went on a darker left-hand path. And one thing I realized was there was so much hush-hush and taboo about what you don't do, what you don't even research, what you don't even speak about, what you don't even listen to as children, that we were so all suppressed. I think there's a reason why, I'm the only one, probably the only child, I'm the only child from that household that has my belief systems, and to this day is not Christian, is the complete opposite. But it's really funny. It's like how, people tell you, you're supposed to be scared of the dark, or there's monsters, and there's this and that, and there's demons and this and that. And it's like, none of that actually is such a threat to you, actually. That's the funny thing. It's not so much of a threat. And it's kind of funny, it's comical. So, it's like when you realize that there's nothing trying to hurt you in the dark. You know what I mean? There's nothing,
Over.
There's nothing to be afraid of, you know what I mean? It would probably and I'm speaking for my personal self, there's nothing that would hurt you about becoming the person that you're meant to actually be. You know what I mean? If you're meant to actually be this person, then that's who you are, and nothing's destructive about that. You know what I mean? Nothing is actually nothing is destructive about it. There's nothing scary about it.
Get ready.
It's who you are. It's just the environment that you're in is so polar opposite and so suppressed and so chained down everything that you cannot flourish. You don't have any realistic means to reach any of your potential, because it is stifled by every part of the culture, especially people like myself. If you're growing up in a black neighborhood with, Pentecostal black Christians, those people are not wanting to have, they barely even want to go out to the woods even. They barely even want to go out and camp. You gotta think of how they, and honestly, they don't even have the means, half these, I remember my grandfather, for instance, he ended up being retired when he was very, very, very young, younger. He was actually in the Marines at one point. But then the thing is, as he got to be, older, he's retired. He's basically an elder in a church, and it's you can't, you don't have the means to always be doing things with your kids or your grandkids or family. Don't get me wrong. He did not spoil. My grandfather was actually pretty tough. He didn't spoil us by any means, but he was very nice. He was generous. He did things. Things he did meant a lot to me. But the thing is, what I'm trying to say is, it wasn't in his mind, I don't think, to even, because he just wasn't that person. No, pretty much no one was. So we didn't get exposed to certain things because we had like a shield around us. In a lot of people in my family would say like, oh, hallelujah, oh, you know, that was God. No, that was not. I don't think that was a good thing. You know, like, you look at it as it's good, and I'm like, no, what it was you're in the program, you're in the system, you're in the matrix, so to speak, is what you are in. It's not protecting you, it's actually stifling you. It's actually stifling your growth. There's no real protection from anything. It's all lies. You know, that's what it really is. It's all lies.
Get ready.
And the only thing that actually scares me about all of that is the disconnect that you are creating between you and, like I said, certain demonic kings, certain demonic forces. These forces are demonic. See, demons is a name that we gave them. We pretty much gave them. I don't really think that's, you know, we made that name. Like, we gave them that name. But the problem is this: they're not beings that you want to distance yourself from. But things like that make it impossible. Not impossible, but almost impossible for you to even know about these things. Like, it's almost like, you know, you get what I'm saying? But about being like a child, the problem is, see, as a child, and I mean, there's a part of you when you're a child where you can't understand certain things, so you can't handle a lot of things. So at some point, you don't really need to be guided necessarily by much, because you can't necessarily understand and handle it. But there's a point where you need to be introduced to these things. Like, you need to. And you need to be, because you're ready. That's the thing. It's just like anything else. It's just like, even if you're playing a sport, like, a kid can't play a sport as soon as he comes out of the womb. But when he gets strong enough, or when you're, you know, you can stand on your 2 feet and you're strong enough and intelligent enough at a point, then it's time to learn. Then it's time to physically, like, learn. And it's the same thing. Like, once you get to a certain point, it's time to start learning. And we were robbed of that. You know, that's really what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say society also robs you of a lot of this. Society rapes you of this. You know, society, because society wants to control you, it robs you of what your potential is. Because it tries to teach you bullshit. Like, it tries to teach you that not only, oh, this doesn't exist, but also, even if it, like, does exist, it's evil, and it's this and it's that, and you're not supposed to. But that's all lies. So that's what I'm trying to tell you, that that's all bullshit, 100% bullshit. That's my point. And there is a part of you as a child, there's a part of you as a child that remembers. You know, there's a part of you as a child that's connected to the spirit world, that actually knows good and well, because it's like a battle. It's like there's a battle between parts of you that, like, are afraid, parts of you that are trying to, like, pull you back into this whole matrix. There's parts of you trying to wrestle with what's true. There's parts of you trying to pull you into nonsense, in essence, and trying to tell you, don't listen to that. Like, don't listen to that small little voice. You know, don't listen to that. Just do what you normally always do. That's you know, that's bad for you, or that's scary, or that's this or that. You know, trying to pull you. It's trying to, you know, it's a fight. it's like, just like anything is a fight. You know, it's like when you have certain things in your body that's like fighting each other. Like, you know, you have it could be like a disease or something. You know, like your normal healthy cells want to thrive, they want to live, they want to do what they're supposed to do, and then you have this thing that is foreign, and it wants to make more of itself. You know, it wants to replicate itself, and ultimately it's going to kill you, and that's what it just does. It replicates itself to such an extent over and over to the fact that now you're just a decaying, like rotting, nasty, diseased mess that can't function and you're dead, and you've been taken over. And like a lot of viruses and things, a virus will breed and then it'll literally burrow and escape itself through whatever, and transmit itself to someone else. You know what I mean? Think how that works. Like, it just goes to somebody else. You know what I mean? And then it just does the same thing to that person, and it replicates itself. That's what I feel like the bullshit is like. It's like a virus. It spreads, it replicates itself over and over, and when that motherfucker dies, unhappy or happy or whatever, that shit is just gonna go to another person and just gonna replicate itself. You know, it's like a generational curse, like with these Christians. Like with myself, actually, I hate it. It's like a curse. That's the actual, like I said, a curse thing. It's like, you know, your parents, and now it gets passed down to you. And that's another big problem, is like creating an atmosphere that is stifled, it's not even not sterile, it's fucking disease. It's more than that, it's more than not sterile, it's a diseased atmosphere. It's like I said, it's sick. It's like you're spreading all this misinformation, you're creating barriers between what people should be in touch with. You're creating difficulties in people's lives and telling them lies and selling them lies, and you know, you're poisoning them and you're stifling the actual parts of them that are actually the purer parts of them, or the parts of them that are supposed to be managed and supposed to be guided by something else. You are trying to guide them with your virus of your Christian, churchy, McDonald's packaged, whatever it is that you're trying to like teach these people. And that's what I mean. Like, that's the problem. That's a huge problem. That's a big problem. And like I always say on this channel, you know, this channel is like necessarily not saying like we try to go around, or not like we go around trying to like convert people from what they actually are in like this harsh way or something. No, it's just like, this is telling you about a different option. Like, this is trying to tell you what you could do, or telling you maybe the very thing that's actually missing. You know, that'll actually make you a better, happier person. One of the key components to this is that you can't approach this with like a fearful attitude, and you can't approach this with your preconceived notions that you had before. Like, you can't approach this with your notions that something is trying to prey upon you or deceive you.
Get ready.
Like I said again before, like Belial, you can't believe the Christian perspective of who Belial is. you can't believe it. You can't believe that the Christian perspective of what a demon is and all this like deception crap. No, you have to come with a completely fresh, new, open perspective, and your perspective has to be the childlike, open-minded perspective of, okay, I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna give this a chance and see where this goes. You know, like I'm gonna see for myself. It's like that. It's like I'm gonna prove to myself like whether this is dangerous or whether like I'm gonna see this. You know, no one's gonna tell me what this is. No one's gonna like tell me that, oh, you know, these things are out to get you. Your life's gonna be destroyed. No, if your life is destroyed, it's probably because you made a poor decision, and you know, you yourself got greedy, or that's how we always mess up. Usually, as people, that's usually how we mess up. Is like we already knew something was dumb. It's like, and it's not necessarily we needed some Christian moral compass and moral. We didn't like. It's not that we needed that guidance. Some people, but usually you don't. Usually you already know what's a bad decision. You already like, come on. You already. It's like you knew. Like even down to the smallest thing. Like you knew. Okay. I could have went to the gym, and I could have worked out, right? But instead, I decided to eat, you know, this whole pizza, and then I spent my money on booze, drugs, and you know, whatever. You know what I mean? Like you already knew the decision that you should have probably made to be more productive. You already knew what it was. You're just lying to yourself, you know? And that's one of the things that makes me really angry is that I hate how people try to blame us for all of their problems. Like, you can't blame us for all of your problems. You can't just do that. It's not only not fair, but it's just bullshit. It's complete bullshit. You mean to tell me that you're gonna blame so-called what you call evil or dark? You're gonna say, oh, that's the cause of all of your problems somehow? What if it was just your own fault? How about that? How about it's your problem, you know? Ever think of that? Ever think that's your actual nature that you have inside of you that is all wrong just comes from you? You ever thought of that? Comes from your human DNA? Comes from your parents that you love so much? Comes from their parents? And then now you're given the task to manage what you are? Because, like, for instance, a monkey is so dumb, like a chimp or something, is dumb enough to where we have to basically, if it's in a cage, we have to take care of it to a degree to stop it from destroying itself half the time. The thing about a person is, us as a human being, we are more intelligent, so we have a capacity to control ourselves to not completely destroy ourselves. We have like a more of an ability because we're not that stupid, you know? So how much more dumb are you if you destroy yourself and do certain things as a human being that's smarter than a chimp? So, you get what I'm saying? So it's like you need to take ownership over your bullshit. You need to take ownership over your fucking actions and have some discipline and realize that, like, you know, running around claiming that it's the quote devil that made you do something, and this is very satanic what I'm telling you, you know, but this concept is just true. You know, you blaming the quote devil or demon or this or, you know, darkness or something evil, you know, like, you know, people, places, persons, and beings like myself, you're trying to say that it's our fault, huh? Oh, so it's not. Are you sure you might want to check that? Are you gonna check that, bro? Because it's not our fault, it's your fault. You know, no demon or anything held you down and forced you to do stupid shit. They didn't put a needle in your arm. You know, they didn't tell you to do this or make that decision. No, you made those decisions yourself. So, make a good decision, and like I said, stop the bullshit, and have an open mind. You know, have an open mind and be open to learn. So that should, you know, that should wrap this rant up. That's pretty much the end of this rant. It's gone on long enough. If there's a part 2, there's a part 2, but there shouldn't be. This is Steve Art and Fun channel. Like, sub, comment, whatever. If there's gameplay footage in this, you know, have fun, enjoy the gameplay. Thoroughly go through this channel and see what other videos you like, or it's on a topic that, you know, you think is valid or relevant to you, or relevant or whatever, or, you know, it's something that you can learn. And, you know, this channel needs to grow. I'm trying to grow this channel because I think I deserve a spot just like anybody else, and a platform just like anybody else. So I just appreciate it if, you know, you like and sub and comment and hit the bell. You need to do things like that on this channel. You need to cover all the bases. Like, you need to like, sub, you need to hit the bell, leave a good comment, thumbs up, and you need to do that so that this channel starts getting some traction, right? So I'm not just gonna be another 9-to-5 miserable person out here. You need to help me succeed in this channel. That's what I'm asking. That's what I'm asking, is that you help me succeed. Now, what I'm willing to give on this channel is to try to make better and better and better content. And show you guys more and more things.
Raspberry, we can be strong point. Get ready. Raspberry, 30 Red City. Get ready.